Well, guys, Steelers preseason game number 1 in the books. Sloppy as it was, ugly as it was, boring as it was late in the contest. But hey, you got LaRon Landry colliding with Baron Batch in the backfield. That was good for some comic relief.
LaRon Landry.
Oh, what did I say? Baron Batch. Landry Jones. Wow, LaRon Landry, Landry Jones.
That was kind of a weekend. Even Jim Furyk, who's got ties to Pittsburgh, couldn't hold on to the lead at the PGA. What a rotten weekend. You're a Riverhounds fan, and they clinched a playoff spot.
It was a pretty rough one. The Steelers had some positives to take out of the game. A few guys that showed their wares. Marcus Wheaton, I would say, pretty good debut. Jarvis Jones, O-line, D-line looked pretty good, but a lot of sloppiness, and that's kind of what you expect.
First of all, the starters played so little. If you're thinking that over, look, it was not a good performance. The penalties really, the Giants hadn't played a preseason game yet and haven't even been tackling in camp yet. Looked much more crisp and disciplined than the Steelers certainly did. The penalties kill you. The turnovers, lots of things to work on. I was encouraged by, for example, after the blocked punt, the first-team defense, they didn't gain a yard. They held them inside the 10, forced them to kick a field goal. Even after the muffed punt, twice there, and that wasn't the first-team defense in anymore then, but they forced another field goal, which went wide. So a couple times when the defense was really pressed, they did okay. They really only made the one big mistake. That was the first-teamers, though. It was William Gay.
Yeah.
And Troy Polamalu blamed himself as well, too. But they only gave up the one touchdown. I don't think it was there were so many mistakes that it made it seem worse than it was. The block punt, the muff punt, the handoff between. First of all, if Landry Jones and Baron Batch are in a game at the same time at any point this season, they're in big trouble.
Or LaRon Landry for that.
Or LaRon Landry, whoever he is.
Well, I'm sure nobody could name any play from preseason game number 1 of any of the last 10 years. Well, maybe there's some fans out there that could, but this stuff doesn't.
Some guy selling insurance somewhere might remember one play from one of those games.
It's just the first of a foundation setting. But I think the general look of the team through the first couple of weeks of camp on a Latrobe guy is they've got some issues at tight end and corner, obviously injury-wise. They've got some depth issues on the O-line. Otherwise, they look like they can be dangerous in spots, but still the offense is dink and dunk. They're going to have, I think, a work in progress with this running game, a new O-line coach, and a couple of backs that are trying to feel out their roles. So, I didn't get a dazzling look from them here over the first couple of weeks, thinking, wow, 12-4 Steelers. They're going to have to grind it out for a little while here.
Well, and let's remember, as we've talked the last couple of weeks, one guy who's looked good in camp, and the guy most of us agree will make the biggest impact on the team this year, Le'Veon Bell, didn't play.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a difference right there. Look at the bright spot. Look at what LaRod Stevens-Hollings was able to do in his time in the game with the first string, a guy they'll probably try to use like Chris Rainey last year on third down situations. So I think there's I think there's so little a sample size of the starters here that I can't get too excited about it. But I'm also not one to totally throw away results in preseason. If you really go back and look at what the Steelers have done in the preseason and what they've done in the following regular season, it more often than not mirrors. I'm not saying they're going to win all 4 preseason games, but years that they go 0-4 or 1-3, they usually don't have a very good regular season. And the same is true for years that they go 4-0 or 3-1. They split the 2. Well, then it's probably a pretty good indication that they're going to be pretty vanilla too.
Preseason game number 2 will be next Monday night in D.C.
I'll be there.
3 weeks to the opener, so a lot of time to make some corrections, including here on this radio program. Guy Junker, Ken Laird, DistribLive.com.